Today we're going to start with the review and analysis of the show Family Matters. Before we start, here's a few details about the show. So this show debuted on September 22nd, 1989 and ended on May 9th, 1997 for a total of 215 episodes over 9 seasons. Something that I didn't know was that this show can be considered a spin-off of a show called Perfect Strangers, Harriet being the character that came from that show. And I believe there's a reference to the show, but it's not like they had any crossovers. There are 7 main characters. We have Carl, who is a police officer and is married to Harriet. They have 3 children, Eddie being the oldest one, then Laura, and then Judy. Also living in their house is Rachel, who is Harriet's sister. Rachel is a writer and she's also living there with the newborn baby. And we have Carl's mom, or Mother Winslow, and of course, Steve Urkel. So, continuing with today's review, the name of the episode is The Mama Who Came to Dinner. The plot of this episode is that Carl is reluctant to have his mom move into his house.
Hi, Mama.
There's my baby boy. Oh, Harriet, you get more beautiful every time I see you. Carl, you're putting on weight.
And he tries to find excuses and ways to not have her move in.
She takes over everything. Harriet, if we let her in here, she will be running our lives. She'll tell us when to eat, what time to sleep. Oh, my. Harriet, she'll put me on a diet, and I will waste away to nothing. Mama doesn't have to come live with us. She can just go live with my brother Frank in New York. I mean, he does have that big apartment. See, you think that the woman who's coming to live with us is the same woman you see when we go visit for Thanksgiving. Well, you see, baby, that's where you're wrong.
But eventually, at the end of the episode, they end up in good terms. Another story developing was that Eddie wanted to go over to a friend's house to watch a Rambo marathon.
Tony's having a few people over tonight to watch some TV. Can I go, please?
Are Tony's parents gonna be there?
Of course.
Beer?
No.
Girls?
No.
How late?
2.
Eddie, you know your curfew's 10.
Hey, I don't need an answer now. Take some time. Think about it.
But Eddie had a curfew, and because of that, his idea was to be extra nice and start doing different chores around the house.
I'm gonna do your laundry, and after that, I'm gonna wash your car and mow the lawn.
Who are you, and what have you done with our son?
But in the end, Carl still says no. Now the grandma finds out what's going on with Eddie, and this is what she tells him.
I'll handle your father at dinner. Your grandma is gonna fight for your right to party.
And I think this is one of the fears that Carl had with his mom, that she was gonna try to control everything and have everyone do things her way. As they're having dinner, this is when she brings up the issue. And at first, everything is good until she gives him permission to go.
Eddie, you go to that party and have a good time. Why, in France, 15-year-old boys can stay out as late as they like.
But that's when Carl steps in and tells him that the curfew is still 10 p.m.
Well, Mother, when he's in France, he can stay out all night long. But in this country, the boys' curfew is still 10 o'clock, and that's final.
Now, Carl is reluctant to talk to his mom.
You're right, Carl.
Well, I'm glad you agree, so now go tell her.
Me? She's your mother.
But, Harriet, you're the one that told her she could move in here.
She's your mother.
Well, she likes you.
She's your mother.
Is that all you got?
That's all I need.
Oh, all right. I'll go talk to her.
Where are you going? She's out on the back porch.
I know. I'm gonna go take a little walk, think about what I'm gonna say to her. You need anything from Canada?
And eventually, they talk.
But if it's gonna work, Mom, we've all got to make some adjustments.
Like what?
Well, first of all, Harriet and I've got to be able to run our own house. You've got to retire from being in charge. You can be an advisor.
Well, I'm a little old to make a career change, but I can try.
Thank you, Mom.
At the end, Carl does end up letting Eddie go to the party.
If Eddie is to learn responsibility, you've got to trust him.
maybe you're right, Mom. I'll go talk to Edward. I've decided to change your curfew to 11.
Oh, but that still means I can't go to the party.
Well, I'm gonna make the exception. Just this once. You can go to the party.
Dad, thanks!
Overall, it was an okay episode. And from what I've read, they do change how the house looks after episode 1. And also, the youngest sibling gets replaced by a different actress. But I think the lesson to be learned from this episode is that we all have to make adjustments or adapt to them in our lives. Sometimes those changes are not wanted or expected, but if we communicate and plan out how to approach them, we will have a successful outcome. This is the end of episode 1's review. Please leave your comments down below on what you think of this episode or anything else regarding that will help us enjoy it more.